And just a brief description of the motion. What this motion would prevent the establishment of new bureaucracies, boards, commissions, advisory panels, or other federally sponsored entities that would add to an already expanding government workforce at taxpayer expense. And again, for someone that's in an area that has been pretty hard hit by this recession, especially on the manufacturing side, you know, we've seen across this country since 2007, 8.4 million jobs lost, wages falling, and Americans throughout this country have tightened their belts. Yet despite these hard times, there's one industry that has had an incredible boom in hiring, and that's the federal government. And overall, government in general has added 100,000 jobs. If I could have slide number 19 put up. As we're waiting, as you can see when this slide comes up, and again, this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The blue line is on the private sector side. You can see that going down tremendously from the 2007, but you've seen from 2007 going up on the government employment side, going up quite a bit. You know, when you look at these numbers, you know, according to the President's own budget data, the federal government is on track to add over 274,000 new employees to its payroll since the beginning of the recession. That's a whopping 15% increase. And if we include the temporary census workers, that number is going to be even higher. And again, you know, when we're out in our districts, the question that always comes up to me, and I mean it's constant, you know, people start hearing about these numbers and they start looking around their own businesses, their own shops, their own factories, and they said, you know what, we've cut to the bone. We're trying to figure out how we can shut the lights off during the day to make sure we can meet our utility costs. We're worried about our natural gas costs. They're worried about laying off employees. They're worried about having to reduce those hours. You know, these people are serious about this because when they look around, these are the same people that go to church with them. They go to the same grocery stores. Their kids go to play at the same high school on the same basketball teams, you name it. And so they're concerned. But they always ask me, what's the federal government doing? And when you look at these numbers on government employment, it's getting pretty bad to try to explain this. You know, and it was kind of interesting. You might have seen this article. It was on the front page of the Washington Post late last year. You know, again, when I look at our papers back home, I know Ms. Capter gets the same newspaper I do. It's usually always bad news on the front page. Well, I happened to see on the Washington Post, I saw this great big picture on the top left photo. Oh my gosh, this is good news. It had a big picture that said jobs fair. Well, that's before I started reading the article then. That Washington Post article reported that over 6,000 people poured into a government career fair last summer where 75 different agencies were hiring for new positions. Yeah. Among the jobs offered were 100 new auditors at the Government Accountability Office to track stimulus and bank bailout funds. The Department of Housing and Urban Development was also looking to hire 6 new employees to oversee its stimulus funds. In other words, the stimulus has created jobs whose sole purpose is to attract stimulus funds. So what we're looking at, though, again, that we've got people being hired on the public sector side, especially on the federal side, but they're not increasing jobs at home. Now, what's troubling about this is, again, that we're seeing that the number of people that are making six-figure salaries are going up, especially on the government side. And if I could have slide 21 put up, please.
Okay, that's it.
If you look at this slide, the average compensation in wages and benefits, you're noticing the blue line is on the federal civilian side with at 119,998 or 119,982, while on the private industry side it's $59,909. So we're watching this thing going the wrong direction because we all got to remember that federal government, the government in general, does not create any wealth; it just consumes wealth. And what we've got to do in this country is get the private sector going again. And with that, I will yield to Mr. Mack.
Thank you. I thank the gentleman for yielding.